What is up, everybody? Captain Deadwake here, your blue-collar captain, here to bring you a tutorial on how to use DPS Calculator. I had a wonderful question on our Discord as to how to outfit the Hermes in the best way, regardless of component pricing. They said that Discord was a little hard to understand, so what better way to get a video idea than right there from the audience, right? Link to this site will be in the description of this video. It's in the description of all of my videos, but you can get to it with erkul.games or type in DPS Calculator Star Citizen. It should pop up really quick on Google. I've relied on this site for years. It is the one that I know best, though there are other options. So let me know what you like down below as far as your way to outfit your ships in Star Citizen, or if this is your first time seeing something like this. So right up here, you have your ship information. You can actually choose what ship you want to look at. We've got our first tab already set on the actual build for our Hermes, since that's the popular ship in question and one that I've actually built out as well, so we can talk about it. But you also have a couple other slots. You can put in like your Connie Taurus, an Asgard, a Corsair, and you can actually kind of quickly go through these tabs to compare different things about them, which is really sweet. Now, this is community made and updated, very accurate as far as ship stats, where you can buy stuff, how it's outfitted, comparisons. Very reliable in my experience. Right below your ship selection here, you've got the actual stats. You can look at your damage from like your actual main guns, turrets, missiles, your boost, and your shields, as well as any like buff or debuffs your ship might have. As an example here, our Asgard actually has a debuff to its signature, so it has a almost 10% higher EM, IR, and cross-section, whereas something like a Talon has a massive buff of minus 40% to all these signatures, which is pretty crazy. While we're on the topic of stealth, this is a pretty nuanced topic, so I'm going to give you bare bones explanation here. But right up here to the left, getting into this, you see your infrared, your EM, and your cross-section. Now, cross-section is the largest profile of your ship. So for something like a Talon, that's going to be the top-down view looking at the wings, like looking at your hand flat like this versus like a sideways profile or even like a nose-on profile. So your cross-section is always your worst stat, as if you're, pancaked. It's not if you're nose on, so it's actually quite a bit less in that case. Outside of that, with your infrared and your EM, you can mess with this in real time by actually interacting with these pips on here just like you would in your ship. And if you really want to go stealth, kill life support, kill shields, bring everything down, kill a cooler, look how far this drops. So this is a great way also with messing with the components you have to see what your signature is going to be on your stealth vessel. Now, one of the really important things here that we'll get into when it comes to your components, the most important probably stock thing you want to change outside of your quantum drive is going to be your cooler. Because if you look here at your Connie, the base cooler requires 3 pips just to turn it on, which takes from everything else. Even if you were to reduce these, you only have 2 more pips of power that you can allocate to like your engines or your shields. That is super common of industrial components out the gate. They are really high output, really high signature, require more power to turn on, but typically are more durable, better health, better resilience. That said, I always end up going to a stealth cooler like the Icebox. The Icebox is actually what I run on the Hermes as well, and you can see the direct comparison here. You only require a minimum of 1 pip to turn this sucker on versus 3, which gives you a lot more power to put to your engines and everything else. But you're also going to want to watch your overall cooling. That's what this stat is here, the consumption. You want to make sure you're not overclocking there, or at least that you can respond if you need to. As a quick example, now we've got both Icebox coolers. We can kick that down. We can kick down life support. We can turn life support off, actually, if you're really in a sticky situation, and kick up those engines. And you're going to be realizing that, especially if you're running energy weapons and all, your coolers are going to be running really hot, man. You can also just add 1 more pip to bring yourself out of that critical zone there, since you had that extra, and we're not even running the best components you could be here. You can throw on some Genoas to give you a bit more power, which allows you to actually keep more things active. I still probably would kill that life support to buff up your engines and all, and we're actually running even softer here. This is with your shields to its full power as well. You could also, just keep your 1 size 3 on, move these around a bit. You can mess with this a lot to really see where you want your allocation to go, and if the component build you have is good for the ship you're dealing with. Now, attached to going in and comparing these power pip allocations, depending on what components you're using, when you click on any of these, like under shields, you see all of your stats, your regen delays, your max HP. You can click at these top arrows to organize it from highest to lowest starting, all the filters you're used to. And the other quick note here is that if it's grayed out as a cart, it's not something you can buy in game. It's something you have to find from a contested zone or get at a QV station or buy from a player. That's typically going to be your military grade components and your stealth, the higher stealth grade, like the A's and B's. Everything in green, though, you can actually buy somewhere in game. This comparison tactic is perfect across the board for weapons, damage, projectile velocities, which this is your accuracy, how fast it is moving. The higher the number, the better. Granted, these mass driver, these railgun type weapons are kind of a pain in the ass to use with the charge mechanic and all, but that's another conversation. But this is how you can do a lot of side-by-side comparisons for how you would build with different weapons. You can even build out an exact copy of this Hermes on everything else, but compare different weapons when you're looking at these different slots to see how it differs with your DPS and everything to the right. Now, one of the areas it gets a little bit more nuanced again is quantum drives, and I'm going to try to make this kind of quick and to the point, but it's more than just your top speed. It's your acceleration in stage 1 and 2, as well as your cooldown time, how long it takes your quantum drive to recycle before you can jump again. Now, I have always been a champion of civilian grade A components if you can't get your hands on military grade A, which again are locked behind contested zones, QV stations, you know, what I just said. Here, you have the Huracan and the Chimera. You have 314,000 kilometers a second, which is technically faster than the speed of light, by the way. Anything over 300,000. Kind of cool. And then you have your Chimera here, which is technically slower top speed, but over here, my friends, you have acceleration and cooldowns. We're at 4,000 and almost 19,000 with a 16-second cooldown, whereas on the Huracan, it's slower acceleration, big time, 2,500, 15.8, and 38-second cooldown. Oh, the Huracan is so painful with the cooldown. So even though it technically is higher top speed, it has no acceleration. That 0 to 60 time is garbaggio, man. You want something much quicker. That is one of the reasons that on the size 3 category, we all champion the Erebus. So here you have the Agni at 383 and the Erebus at 344. But again, the Agni has a 1,500 and 14,000 stage 1 and 2, whereas the Erebus is 2,500, 16.3 stage 1 and 2. And then the cooldown is only 9 seconds versus what was it on the Agni? 21 seconds. So again, it's deeper than just top speed. That's why Chimera and Erebus. Erebus at Arc L1, Chimera at Crew L1, and a few other places. Now, quick aside, and talking about size 1 quantum drives, because they're the one situation where the military and grade A civilian are not the best in efficiency and distance. In size 2 and size 3 across the board, your civilian grade A and your military grade A are the best. You get the most distance out of your quantum drive fuel, everything that you're doing. You have the best efficiency, the lowest requirements for, you know, charging the quantum drive or using it. But at size 1, it's not so cut and dry. Point blank, I prefer Colossus over all the others. For distance traveled plus speed, plus efficiency and quantum fuel requirements, it seems to be the all-around best pick, even if you're running stealth, because now that doesn't make your SCM signature go through the roof like it used to. In the size 1 world, Colossus is my pick, even over the military VK down here and the Atlas grade A civilian. The Colossus outperforms them across the board. Best bang for your buck, speed, everything considered. Also, if you haven't noticed, to pull the stats up here, you're clicking on the little blue tabs next to the actual part. If that wasn't clear as I was doing it, that's what'll pop it up here in the middle so you can get the stats of the actual part. And if you want the ship again, just click on the ship and you get all of its data here. Pitch, roll, yaw, speeds, health, all of that. But yeah, little tabs here. When it's in blue highlighted, that is what you're looking at here. Now, before we get into the bulk purchase of items for ships, I wanted to show you this, because if you have your ship selected, you click on it, you can see everything with your ship. Scrolling down, if it's available in game, you can see how much it costs and where you can buy it. And then you click on that and add it to your cart. Speaking of the cart, that is what I use to make this as simple as possible when trying to buy these parts. Because as you click on these and you get the blue tabs, pops up here in the middle, also shows you down here where you can get each of these components. Stanton, Pyro, Nyx, as well as every spot that has them. Now, there are 2 primary places in Stanton that I call my Costco and my Sam's Club respectively, which is New Babbage and Orison, because they have the bulk of pretty much everything you need, minus a couple of things. So as you're looking at all these items, you're going to want to, click on one of these to see where they're going to be. Here again, New Babbage and Orison. I went ahead and sped that up to show you the actual cart here, the quantities. Of course, we don't actually need the arrow. We're going to get rid of that. We've got our 4 Lorica shields. We got our 2 Genoa power plants, our Deadbolt 4s, and our 84B weapons, our 16 Dominator 2 missiles. We got our Icebox stealth coolers and our Chimera quantum drive. You can see what the total cost is going to be of everything too, so you know going in if you've got enough. And again, it keeps track of where everything is, which is super helpful for making this a quick and to the point errands run, so you're not going all over Stanton or wherever. You can go to 2 spots and get everything. Pro tip on top of that is that you can actually convert a lot of this same thinking to pretty much any ship you're going to get, just in size 1, 2, or 3 variants, but the same strategy here, sticking with industrial power plants, grade A civilian quantum drives, civilian shields typically, and then whatever weapon build you like. And that way, when you're at New Babbage, for example, my Costco, since you're going in and going shopping, you can claim whatever ships there that you're going to want to swap components on. That way you can buy everything for those ships, do all your swaps while you're there, get it done, and be able to move on to Orison to finish it off. It's a super easy way to do this. I hope that this run through helped a lot of you out in how to outfit your ships in a way that's less stressful, also allowing you to become a bit of a components expert because you have all the info here and can interact with it again on the site to actually see how it affects your ship, messing with your power pips. It gives you all the tools you need to know exactly what you're getting into for your ship. As always, guys, questions down in the comments. You will also find the link to the site down in the description, as I said in the beginning of the video. So let me know what you think, and I will catch you guys out in the verse. Take care.